On this day, Omar walked briskly towards his uncle's house. He was on his way to confront him. He needed answers to why his uncle, his late father's brother, was being so wicked to him since the death of his father. Omar is 18 years and had just completed high school and was about to go to college when his father died suddenly of a heart attack. He never knew his mom. She died when he was just 2 months old. His uncle had promised him that he would help him sell his father's portion of the family land so that he could use the money to pay for college. That was the plan of his dad before he died. Omar reached his uncle's house and found him at home. "Good evening, Uncle." "Good evening, Omar. How are you?" "I'm not fine, Uncle," replied Omar. "Why?" asked his uncle. "Uncle, why are you so wicked? Tell me, what did El or my late father ever did to you to deserve such wickedness?" "Mind your words. Don't talk to me like that," the uncle retorted. "Where is the money for my school fees? You sold all my father's land and left me just a plot. The money is for my college education, but you have refused to give it to me or account for it. The deadline for me to pay my fees has expired, and you keep playing hide and seek with me. I need to go to school. Am an orphan now. El have no one. Education is very important and critical, yet you have robbed me of that. Your father was my junior brother. The land belongs to our parents. Yes, El have my own portion, but El also have the right to take what belongs to my brother. How can a small boy like you take all that land? Why do you want to go to college? Who in our family ever went to college? My own children did not go to college after high school. So you are not going either." Omar left very angry. He knew there was nothing he could do. He thought about how best he could make money and go to college next year. What can he do? He thought about what to do to sustain himself. The next day he went to town to find any job. He needs to work, do something, anything. He will go to college, and nothing was going to stop him. He started to go out every day with the hope of finding something to do to earn some much-needed cash. Every day before setting out, he will pray. He knew God was with him and believes that God will make a way for him. On his way home, he came across an old man sitting by the roadside, begging for money and asking for help. Omar dropped some change in the bowl. "Thank you," said the old man. He was in his late 70s and looks very wretched. Omar went on his way home. Couple days later, he came across the same wretched old man sitting at the same spot, begging for money. Something was different. The old man seems very sad. Omar drew nearer to him. He greeted the old man and asked if everything was okay. The old man shook his head and said sadly, "Am hungry and also don't feel well. I feel weak. I need help, but no one wants to help me. El want to eat and lie down. Maybe El will feel better after that." "I will be right back," said Omar. Omar went and bought food for the old man, and he ate. "Where do you live?" Omar asked. "I am homeless," he replied. Omar felt sorry for him. He realized the old man sleeps in the street, and that horrified him. "What about your family? Where are they?" Omar asked. "El don't have any children. El have 2 brothers and a sister, but they don't want anything to do with me. They have their own children and grandchildren to worry about. I was a burden to them, so they kicked me out of the family home. I have been on the streets for about a year now." Omar felt sorry for the old man. He just couldn't leave him on the streets. "Would you like to go home with me?" Omar asked. "No, it's okay. El will be fine here," said the old man. "You have already done more than enough by giving me food to eat." Omar persuaded the old man to go with him. Eventually, the old man agreed and went home with Omar. The old man took a shower and Omar gave him a pair of shirt and trousers that belonged to his late father. Omar cleaned his dad's room and made the bed for the old man. That night, the old man had a good night's sleep. The next day, Omar made breakfast and fed the old man. "What is your name?" the old man asked. "My name is Omar." "My name is Odai," said the old man. So Che old man, Mr. Odai stayed with Omar, and Omar took great care of him. He gave Mr. Odai some of his late dad's clothes. They fitted him perfectly because the two men were about the same size. Soon, Omar found a job in a small bookshop. The salary was enough to sustain him and Mr. Odai, and also saved some towards his education. Omar knew he will have to save for a very, very long time to have enough for his college fees. Omar was grateful for the job, and he worked hard at the bookshop. One day, Mr. Odai got very sick, and Omar took him to the hospital. He was in severe pain. Mr. Odai was diagnosed with appendicitis. The doctors told Omar that it is very rare in older people. About 10% of cases usually occur in people aged 65 and older. Elderly patients with appendicitis have higher rates of complications and mortality than younger patients. Appendicitis in elderly patients is a serious condition that requires early diagnosis and treatment. Laparoscopic appendectomy is often the preferred surgery for appendicitis in older adults because it may lead to a faster recovery and less pain. Omar was told Mr. Odai needed surgery and he has to make a quick down payment. He can pay the balance later. Mr. Odai has no health insurance, so he has to pay cash. Omar became worried as he has grown fond of Mr. Odai. He went to the bank and withdrew all his savings. This was money meant for his college fees, but he believes saving Mr. Odai's life is much more important. The money was not enough for the down payment, and he did not know where to find Mr. Odai's family. He needs 50% of the total cost of the surgery. His savings from the bank amounts to only 40%. He decided to go and ask his uncle for the remaining 10%. He honestly walked to his house. Fortunately, the uncle was home. He greeted his uncle and told him the reason why he was there. "You are stupid and stupid. I should give you money for an old man you picked from the streets. You are housing him, feeding him, and now he is sick. I don't have any money, just leave my house." "You useless boy," said his uncle angrily. "But uncle, I'm asking for my money, not yours. You have all my money that was meant for my education by selling all my father's land. The old man need a help. Please just give me the amount I'm asking for so he can haste the surgery. If you don't leave my house this minute, I will have my children beat the hell out of you. Leave." Omar left his uncle and decided to go to the hospital with the amount he had. On the way, he met the manager of the bookshop he works in. "Omar, where are you going? And why are you looking worried?" he asked. Omar told him about the old man and his current situation. The manager looked at Omar and asked, "You withdraw your savings so you can pay for the surgery?" "Yea, El did. El know El needed the money for my fees, but if El don't help him, he might die." The manager was moved by Omar's generosity and compassion. "How much do you need now?" he asked. Omar told him the amount of the 10%. "Come with me." He took Omar to the bank, withdrew the amount, and added extra cash so that Omar can have some money to cater for him and the old man. "Thank you, sir," said Omar. "Don't worry, you are a good boy, and God will surely bless you." Omar rushed to the hospital and made payment. Mr. Odai was rushed to surgery. The surgery was successful. Mr. Odai stayed in the hospital for a few days and was discharged. Omar was given 1 month to pay the balance for the surgery. He was worried because honestly, he had no idea how he was going to pay it. He took Mr. O'Dai home. Omar took care of Mr. O'Dai and nursed him back to health. The balance for the surgery weighed heavily on Omar. How is he going to pay for it? He has only 2 weeks left to pay it. He thought about it, and the only option he had is to sell the only parcel of land he had. He decided to sell it to his manager, since he had helped him with the 10% of money. He went to work that fateful day and told his manager about wanting to sell his land to him to help pay for the balance at TGE Hospital. The manager felt sorry for Omar and decided to buy the land on one condition. I will pay you for the land so you can pay the hospital bill, but L will deduct a certain amount from your salary every pay period till the full amount is paid, and then you can have your land back. It's the only portion left for you, and L cannot take it from you. All L can say is L admire you. Keep on doing good, and one day the good Lord above will reward you. Omar agreed to the condition. The next day, his manager gave him the money he needed. He went to the hospital and paid. He was given a receipt, and he went home. Mr. O'Dai was sitting outside when Omar got home. Mr. O'Dai saw that Omar was happy and relaxed. He motioned Omar to sit by his side. How are you, Omar? He asked. I'm very well and blessed, said Omar. I can see that you are happy. Oh yes, El am. God is good and faithful. Hallelujah, replied Mr. O'Dai. There is something I'll want to ask you, said Mr. O'Dai. Where did you get the money to pay for my surgery? He asked. Omar debated within him whether he should tell Mr. O'Dai the truth. He worried that Mr. O'Dai will feel bad about how he got the money to pay for the surgery. In the end, he told Mr. O'Dai the whole truth. Mr. O'Dai lowered his head and began to weep. Omar felt bad. He realized he made a mistake by telling him the truth. He placed his hand on his shoulder and comforted him. Mr. O'Dai, it's okay. Don't worry. You are like a father to me, and El would do the same for my father. Thank you for helping me. You saved my life. You are the son El never had. God bless you. The following week, there was an announcement that their developing company wants to develop an apartment complex with a shopping mall. The shops will be on the first floor, and TGE apartments will be on top. Everyone was excited because there will be jobs when the construction begins. Omar spoke to his manager about how best he can work at the bookshop and also at the construction site. They came up with an arrangement that allows Omar to come early and close early at the bookshop. This will allow him to go work few hours to the new construction site. Omar was excited. He went home and told Mr. O'Dai, who was equally excited for Omar. He had come to love him dearly. Construction began, and the youth and any able body who can work got hired, and the pay was good. Omar was happy, as he was making good money at both his jobs. He was able to take good care of Mr. O'Dai, bought him new clothes and shoes. Mr. O'Dai looked good, abad healthy, far from the wretched old man he was when Omar found him. He was very grateful. It took a whole year for the construction to be done. It was a very big apartment complex and a shopping mall. It was expensive and well built, the first of its kind in the town. It soon became the talk of the town. Omar was able to pay back the money his manager gave him, and he got back his land. The day for the opening ceremony came of the whole town, and its elders were invited. Everyone dressed up for the occasion. Omar bought Mr. O'Dai some new clothes for the occasion. They all went to the venue. It was decorated with lots of plastic chairs. The tables were well decorated with flowers on them. The venue was beautiful. There was also lots of food and drinks. There were spatial sitting areas for the chief and elders of the town. Omar's wicked uncle sat amongst them, looking happy about feeling pompous. Omar sat at the same table with Mr. O'Dai and his manager. Everyone was happy. It was announced that everyone should get food and drinks while they wait for the distinguished guest, the owner of the complex. A line was formed, and everyone got some food and drinks at the tables. They all sat down and ate with joy. Finally, a fleet of expensive cars drove in and parked. Men in expensive suits stepped out and took their seats. Everyone was quiet. The owner of the complex must be very rich. A very well-dressed man to the microphone and announced, "Greetings, everyone, and welcome. This is the moment we have all been waiting for. Put your hands together and let's welcome our chairman, the man who built all these. Please let's welcome Mr. Victor O'Dai." Everyone started clapping and looking forward for him to come on stage. Mr. O'Dai slowly stood up from where he was sitting the crowd and made his way to the platform. The clapping suddenly stopped as he made his way. There was shock and confusion. Whispers were heard. "Where is that old man going? Is he not the old man staying with Omar? Has he lost his mind? What is wrong with him?" Omar and his manager were equally confused. Mr. O'Dai got to the platform and took the microphone. He smiled broadly. "Greeting everyone and welcome. I know you are all confused to be shocked, because you know me in this town as the wretched old man who lives with Omar. Yes, it is me, and I'll have a story to tell, so listen carefully, and you will understand. Mr. Name is Mr. Victor O'Dai, and I am the founder and CEO of Vicodai. I'm sure most of you here have heard the name. I have banks, hotels, schools, hospitals, developing companies, etc. I am very rich and have everything a man could ask for. But I'll worry. I'll worry about the fact that I'll have no children, no one to inherit my wealth. I know I'll have to give it away, but not just to anyone. I'll want to give it to someone who deserves it, someone who will use it to benefit mankind. I came up with a plan to disguise myself as a poor and needy man, to see who would help a poor old man. I traveled to many towns. A few people dropped some money in my cup. Some scoffed at me, and some even called me names. I pleaded with many people to help me, but no one really did. Then, about 1.5 years ago, Elle ended up in this town. Omar took pity on me when Elle told him Elle was homeless and sleeps in the streets. He gave me a roof over my head, food on the table, and clothes on my back. One day Elle got very sick, and Omar rushed me to the hospital. Elle needed surgery. Omar paid with his life savings and also sold his land, his inheritance. The surgery was successful. He took me home and he continued to care for me. He told me Elle was like a father to him, and he would do the same for his father. What Omar didn't know was that the hospital where he took me was my own hospital. Elle didn't need to pay for the surgery, just wanted to know how far Omar would go to help a total stranger. I came to love Omar dearly. He is a remarkable young man, and am very proud to call him my son. Mr. O'Dai sent one of his men to bring Omar's uncle to the platform. When he arrived, Mr. O'Dai looked at him and said loudly into the microphone, "You have 24 hours to give Omar every penny you owe him. Do you understand?" He had no choice but to agree. "If you do not pay him in 24 hours, Elle will make sure you go to prison. Now get off my platform and stand to the side and watch and learn." Mr. O'Dai spoke to the shocked crowd. "Please, everyone, stand up and help me welcome my new son, Omar." Reluctantly, everyone stood up and began to clap. Omar, still in shock, stood up slowly. He looked at his manager and asked him to please accompany him to the platform. When they arrived at the platform, Mr. O'Dai gave Omar a big bear hug, and then offered the seat that was reserved to the special distinguished guest. Mr. O'Dye looked at the manager and told the crowd how he had helped Omar financially so Omar could pay for the surgery. "I'll want to personally thank you, Mr. Manager." Mr. O'Dye motioned to a man who brought an envelope from the car. May O'Dye took it and gave it to the manager. "Open it," said Mr. O'Dye. He opened the envelope, and there was a check with a very huge amount written on it, and also a car key. "It is yours for your kindness," said Mr. O'Dye. One of his men took the car keys from the manager and went and brought the car closer to the platform for all to see. The manager was beyond words. He knelt down and thanked Mr. O'Dye. He motioned the manager to sit by Omar. "Now for the moment we have all been waiting for." He motioned Omar to stand up, and he did. Omar was still in a daze. He knew it was all a dream, and he would soon wake up in his father's house. But it was not a dream. It was real. Mr. O'Dye motioned to a fine-dressed man to come forward. He handed Mr. O'Dye a very large envelope. Mr. O'Dye turned and spoke to Omar. "You are now my legally adopted son, and these are the documents. Everything El owned now belongs to you. You are now officially my heir. Also, this apartment complex and the shopping center belongs to you. It's a gift from me to say thank you for your kindness. Thank you for helping a poor stranger. The university you want to go also belongs to me and is now officially yours." The crowd gasped, then reluctantly began to clap. Omar's uncle knees buckled and he fell to the floor. His children took him away in shame. Omar and Mr. O'Dye hugged for a very long time. The crowd continued to be merry, eating and drinking to their heart's content. The end.